Last video, we quite literally roasted the alpha and sigma males. But we are not done yet. It's obvious that Lian is a very well-written strong male character. But what if you want your male character to be stereotypically cool, strong, feared by others, while still being a well-written, good character that respects their partner and values consent? Well, you don't have to look far. Hua Cheng is the perfect example. Hua Cheng is confident, strong, all three realms know his name, and fear him. He rules over Ghost City, is filthy rich, and does whatever he pleases. Not even the heavens can stop him. He is a real bad boy. Or so it seems on the surface. To understand Hua Cheng's character, we need to understand why he acts the way he does. Hua Cheng's childhood was, to put it lightly, not good. His mother died, and his father and stepmother didn't care for him at all. He often got kicked out of the house, was poor, malnourished, he didn't even have a name. His mother used to call him Hong Konger, which literally means little red. He was called that because of his red right eye. Because of this eye, he was called ugly, a monster. When we put the words that describe child Hua Cheng next to the words that describe present Hua Cheng, we see something interesting. Hua Cheng became the opposite of what he once was. But why did he do it? The answer might seem obvious, but it isn't. He didn't do it just because he wanted to live the good life, to prove to everyone that he was superior, to be able to gloat in front of others. Instead, he did it for Lian. While Hua Cheng was alive, he failed to protect Lian. He sees his past self as a failure, and he wants to correct that, to become someone useful to Lian, someone Lian can rely on. So, he took all of these traits that he deemed bad and became the opposite of it. Instead of a insecure, poor, quiet, nameless child, he became a rich, boisterous ruler of Ghost City. In his eyes, the perfect man. Or he tried to. Everyone else definitely see him this way. But you cannot just snap your insecurities away and change your entire personality. Let's take confident and good-looking as an example. The truth is, he is still nervous about his looks. Even 800 years couldn't fix all the bullying he suffered as a child. Hua Cheng is a shapeshifter. It's stated that before Lian came, he never showed his true form in Ghost City. He avoids his true form because part of him still believes that he is an ugly monster. We see him testing the waters when he first meets Lian after 800 years. He changes his form to look younger, close to his true form, but not quite. Later, he asks Lian how he would react if Hua Cheng turned out to be a hideous monster. Again, he's scared of Lian's reaction and is trying to assess how he will react. And when Lian finally sees his true form, Hua Cheng tenses up and only relaxes after Lian praises his looks. Our man's childhood trauma is so deep that even looking like this, he is still anxious about his looks when he meets Lian. On a side note, I also think that the reason why Hua Cheng appeared younger than Lian is that, chronologically, he is younger. It must be weird seeing the love of your life, who is older by 7 years, look younger than you. Okay, back to the main topic. We usually associate bad boys with, well, being rude, thinking you're better than everyone around you, and even being somewhat mean to their love interests. That is not Hua Cheng. Everything he does, how he acts, is for Lian. Obviously, he likes being better than everyone who isn't Lian. But when it comes to Lian is above all else. Unlike most bad boys portrayed in media, Hua Cheng 100% respects Lian's boundaries, understands consent, and understands what the word no means. First of all, Hua Cheng isn't controlling, like, at all. He says it himself. But only His Highness can decide on whatever he chooses. I will never oppose his decisions. Function had never heard anyone say anything like this before, not from men to women, and most definitely not from one man to another. Hua Cheng follows Lian around and helps him in any way he can. That is how Hua Cheng treats Lian. A good example of this is the Blackwater arc. Hua Cheng knows what's going on. He himself made a deal with Hechuan not to interfere, and it would have been way safer for Lian to just stay away from the whole ordeal. The best course of events for Hua Cheng would have been to keep Lian away from everything, even though Lian wanted to go. However, Hua Cheng doesn't do that. He warns Lian, yes, but when Lian announces that he is going, Hua Cheng is right there, ready to go along with him. At the end of the arc, he does get Lian out of there, and is very guilty about it. When Lian asks for an explanation, Hua Cheng is ready to tell everything, even if it means breaking the deal he made with Hechuan. Lian is the one who stops him. This was never about controlling Lian and forcefully keeping him safe. Hua Cheng had a deal with Hechuan that he didn't want to break, and Lian understood that. Even with that deal, Hua Cheng supported Lian's decisions as best as he could. If Lian had ordered Hua Cheng to break the deal, Hua Cheng would have. But, just like Hua Cheng, Lian would never force him to do something he doesn't want to. Hua Cheng's first priority is to make Lian happy. A close second is to keep him safe, which is very hard to do because these two priorities clash constantly. Lian has no regards for his own well-being, which makes Hua Cheng's life that much harder. Sure, Hua Cheng could go all control freak mode and keep Lian safe by locking him in his palace and fighting his battles for him, but that's not what Hua Cheng does. He is not a loser like alpha and sigma males. Instead, he is always by Lian's side, ready to help if Lian needs it. The only times he is forceful with Lian is when Lian blatantly ignores the harm done to him. When Lian steps on a poisonous needle and tries to walk it off, Hua Cheng ignores all of Lian's protests, picks him up, and pulls out the needle. Because, and it's very important that people understand this, there is a huge, massive difference between stopping a person from doing what they like because it might be dangerous and stopping that person's self-harm. If a person says not to help them, and the reason is, you don't have to trouble yourself, just let me suffer, then you go and help that person despite their protests. However, if a person says not to help them handle a venomous snake because they're a professional and enjoy it, then you stand back and be ready to leap into action if something goes wrong. This also applies in less dangerous situations. Is Hua Cheng a better cook than Lian? Yes. Could he have shown his superiority by telling Lian to stand back and cooking the meal himself? Also yes. But instead, Hua Cheng closed his mouth, stayed quiet, and enjoyed the awful meal that Lian happily made for him. Hua Cheng is also very attentive to how Lian feels. Does he like teasing Lian? Yes. Yes, he does. But he never oversteps it. Lian likes it when Hua Cheng teases him. That's why Hua Cheng does it. Both parties have to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's just bullying. In one scene, Hua Cheng tries to propose to Lian and then dismisses it as a joke. Because remember, he isn't just a hot ghost king. He is a hot, nervous mess when it comes to Lian. Lian isn't happy about this joke. And Hua Cheng, seeing that, immediately apologizes and promises not to joke around like that. At the end of the story in the extras, Lian is deep in thought, and Hua Cheng jokes that maybe Lian has a hard time walking because of last night's fun activities. Lian, still deep in his thoughts, nods. And do you know what Hua Cheng does? He apologizes and promises to tone it down next time. And when Lian explains that is not a problem, only then does Hua Cheng suggest doing something even more fun during their next time. Being respectful to your partner doesn't mean always behaving properly. It means paying close attention to your partner and the moment they don't enjoy something anymore, stopping it immediately. And how Hua Cheng acts is the perfect example of this. Now let's talk about consent and the power of saying no. If you just look at the very, very surface of Hualian's relationship, then it might seem that their relationship isn't always consensual. Hua Cheng forced their first kiss, then kissed Lian while he was unconscious, and the whole ghost rat thing happened. However, if you think that Hualian's relationship isn't consensual, then you need to go back to school and learn how to read properly. The first kiss might as well be CPR. Lian was drowning, ready to stab himself. Again. And Hua Cheng jumped in to give him air. I know that Lian considered it a kiss, and I also think of it as their first kiss, but if you think that in real life, CPR, a life-saving procedure, is kissing, then you have to reevaluate your life choices. Did you know that women are 14% less likely to receive CPR by bystanders, precisely because CPR has been sexualized like this? That's a real problem. Going back to Hualian, even though Hua Cheng could have brushed it off as just saving Lian and told him not to overthink it, Hua Cheng apologizes and is very scared that Lian will be mad at him. Luckily, Lian isn't dumb and understands why Hua Cheng did what he did. And yet, Hua Cheng apologizes again. Hua Cheng, however, replied, "Nothing of the sort. I was the one who crossed the line and offended Gaga. Sunlung isn't wrong and apologizes." I also love that Lian says that he would have stabbed anyone else if they tried to kiss him like that. But with Hua Cheng, he didn't know what to do. Just wanted to point that out. Moving on. What about when Hua Cheng kissed Lian while he was unconscious? Well, unconscious isn't the correct word. Lian sent his soul to Shichingshuan and left his body behind. Yeah, that happened. In this scene, it wasn't like Hua Cheng saw Lian's body and decided to take advantage of him. He wanted to get his soul back into his body. Turns out, Hua Cheng used the fastest and most effective way to suck out all the powers he lent to Lian, and successfully brought Lian's soul back to his body. And, considering how long it took for Lian's soul to get back, Hua Cheng definitely hesitated to do that. This time, Hua Cheng didn't even have a chance to apologize, because Lian pounced on him, kissing him, and sucking back the spiritual powers. I think at this point, exchanging spiritual powers like that is pretty normal between these two, and no one is getting angry about it. Now, the opening of Mount Tonglu, or how fans like to call it, Ghost Rat. Hua Cheng knows what's about to happen and tells Lian to get out, but Lian stays. At this point, Hua Cheng is incapable of thinking. He's out of his mind, and he forcefully kisses Lian in order to transfer spiritual powers to him. At least that's what Lian thinks. We do not know the details. It's probably a mixture of wanting to transfer the excess spiritual powers and wanting to actually kiss Lian. Just like Lian couldn't bring himself to stab Hua Cheng before, now he cannot seriously hit him to get him off. He does eventually escape and yells Hua Cheng's name. And Hua Cheng stops trying to kiss him. Remember, Hua Cheng is practically mad at this point. Yet, he still stops when Lian says so. Lian's well-being is above everything else. If only real men were like Hua Cheng. Moving on, it's also important to mention how Hua Cheng's character changes over time. After spending time with Lian, getting to know how Lian feels about him, and officially becoming a couple, Hua Cheng becomes more needy. He pouts, he asks for kisses, but even then he is respectful of Lian's wishes. While searching for the Brocade Immortal, Hua Cheng asks Lian to kiss him. After Lian tells him not to ask him that, Hua Cheng asks him not to kiss him. Lian says not to ask that either, and Hua Cheng stops. From that point, he only asks Lian basic stuff, like jump or spin. And Lian is actually a bit disappointed. And that's on Lian. When you have a partner that highly values consent, you need to clearly state what you want and what you don't want. So, our confident, bad boy, hot ghost king is actually a very caring, attentive, nervous mess. If you want to see how Hua Cheng would act if he didn't have all of his trauma and could act how he wanted, then look at Aming. Aming is part of Hua Cheng. he mirrors Hua Cheng's true feelings. That's why Hua Cheng dislikes him so much. And what do we know about Ming? We know that he likes to be praised by Lian, being pampered by Lian, being close to Lian, tries to impress Lian, craves Lian's attention, and so on. That's Hua Cheng. That's how Hua Cheng feels. Hua Cheng very much likes getting the princess treatment from Lian. When Lian was fighting for bone dragons, Hua Cheng happily stood behind him. Lian dusted off his hands and let out a breath. He turned around and asked, "Sunlung, are you okay?" With crescent eyes, Hua Cheng smiled. "Under the Gaga's protection, how can anything happen to me?" Heaven Official's blessing gave us two different men that are completely perfect. While Lian shows us that you don't have to get others' approval to be manly, Hua Cheng shows us that you can be stereotypically cool and confident while still being caring and compassionate. I love these characters. Anyways, thank you so much for watching till the end. See you in the next video. Bye!